Fresh from the showcase at SwissWatchExpo. If you're looking for the most value for the dollar in a dive watch and you just can't fathom spending the kind of money that other watch companies get for their dive watches, I really want to show you this Tag Heuer Aquaracer. I think it's the best value proposition out there. The Tag Heuer Aquaracer is really one of the very best values out there, and I love this watch. It's based on the 1978 release from Heuer, before they were Tag Heuer, of the 844 dive watch. They had gotten a lot of requests over the years from private companies to make water watches. Of course, you know them for their racing history, but this really introduced a whole new line for the Heuer company. And when they came out with the Aquaracer in 2004, it was really a throwback to that 844 Heuer watch, but they've made so many improvements on it that this is really, I think, a viable alternative even for the Rolex Submariner, the Omega Seamaster, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms. Those watches are all a lot more expensive than this one, but the build quality of the Aquaracer is just impeccable. You're going to love what I have to show you here. But we're really comparing two different generations of the Aquaracer, and then we're going to throw in the GMT version of it at the end. So these two versions, the older one came out in 2015, great watch, but it was revamped for 2021, and there's a lot of very subtle differences between the two, so I'm going to show you what a lot of those differences are. So between the two, this one is the original from 2015. And what we see here is that this one has a Cyclops bubble over the date at 3 o'clock, so it's got kind of that Rolex look. But the revamped version in 2021, they moved the date to 6 o'clock, and the Cyclops goes under the crystal. So it doesn't stick up, still magnifies the date for you. The dials on these watches are just beautiful. I've got the blue versions here. Of course, they come in other colors, black and white. But you can see they have a horizontal design to them. Just looking at the dials, the first thing I noticed was that the 2015 version, the indices are trapezoids, and on the 2021 version, they're octagons. The lume is really bright either way. You get a fantastic look. The trapezoids remain at the cardinal positions, but the octagons, I think, make it look a little bit more like the Seamaster and the Submariner. I liked the uniqueness of the trapezoids on the 2015 version, but I'm not complaining. When we get to the text on the dial, it's interesting. They moved the word Aquaracer to above the Tag Heuer logo, and they cleaned it up a little bit. They both have the caliber 5 movement, which is an outstanding movement in-house from Tag Heuer. But the 2015 version says caliber 5 on the dial. The 2021 version does not. I'm always a fan of dials that are a little bit more minimalistic, have a little bit less going on. I like the 2-liner Submariner better than the 4-liner. That's just me. That's why they make 31 flavors of ice cream. We don't have to all like the same thing, so you can let us know what you think. But I like that they removed the word caliber 5 from the dial. When we look at the bezel, the 2015 version has a painted aluminum bezel insert, where the 2021, it's a ceramic bezel. And then just the design of it itself, the 2015 has built-in riders to make it easier to turn the bezel. But the 2021, they switched to a scalloped design, more similar to the Submariner. But just the way it feels when you turn it, the 2021 version is a very, very nice tactile feel to it. It's very easy to move, and I think it's superior. So on bezel, 2021 gets the points. Another design difference is in the hands themselves. If you look at the hour hand between the two, the 2021 version, that hour hand's a little beefier, a little thicker, a little more obvious the difference between the minute hand and the hour hand if you were using it as a dive watch and you were deep down and you needed to read that under low light. The case itself, they went from a flat-sided case in the 2015 model to a version with a polished bevel between the sides and the tops of the lugs. That's also a cue to the 844 from 1978. It had that same kind of high polished bevel, and it gives it a little bit more play of the light, a little bit more shine when you move it on the wrist. One of the biggest pluses for me of the 2021 version is the clasp. On the 2015 version, you have just a regular two button double trigger clasp. It's very reliable, very sturdy. It's very nice. But on the 2021 version, the adjustment process on it is so easy. You actually just squeeze these buttons in on the sides, and you can slide the bracelet in and out on the fly. It's really even a superior system, dare I say, to the Easy Glide from Rolex or the system that's on the Seamaster, because even while it's on your wrist, you can just squeeze these buttons and move it. So it's very, very easy adjustment to make the watch a little larger or a little smaller. I hate feeling stuck to my watch in the summer. I'm out there at the Braves game, chopping and chanting, and my watch is just killing me. I like to make it a little bit looser. And then in the winter, I hate to feel like it's flopping all around. I love to make it a little bit smaller. So 2015, 2021, your choice, either one, a fantastic watch. You might just like the way one looks a little better than the other. I will point out the lug-to-lug distance on the 2021 is a little bit smaller, about 1 millimeter than the 2015. So it'll fit a wider variety of wrists. If you feel like the 43 millimeter size might be pushing it a little bit for you, you might go with the smaller lug-to-lug. It's also a little bit lighter by a handful of grams, and it's also just a little bit thinner. It's about a 0.5 millimeter thinner. It's enough that you can notice the difference on the wrist. So if you want it a little bit more compact, a little more efficient and easier to wear, go with the 2021. If you want a little more bulk, go with the 2015. Now in 2022, they took all of those design elements we talked about on the 2021 and added a GMT function. So to me, this is one of the greatest combinations you could have, because there's always this sort of debate, do you want to be able to jump time zones as you travel or as you do business with other parts of the world, or do you want a dive watch? And of course, from the hands of Rolex, you don't get those choices to combine them into one watch. But here we have a GMT dive watch. And so this might be the best all-around version, because you get really what would be two of the most useful complications on a watch: the GMT, the date. You also get the turning bezel to time things. For a lot of purposes, I like the turning bezel even better than a chronograph. And the chronograph really just clutters everything up with the extra buttons and subdials. So this might be my favorite watch, but the value proposition on any of these is just off the chart, because these watches are such high build quality, such good movements, such great bezels, and you can feel the build quality in the clasp and in the way you turn the bezel. The movement's great, and yet the price is just fantastic. You could get several of these in your collection for what one watch from another company costs. So if you type in our website, on the search bar at the top, type in the word Aquaracer, you'll see everything that we've got. One of my favorites that we didn't talk about today is the limited edition 844 revamp that looks a lot like the 1978 844 on a rubber racing strap. And so that's just a super cool watch. I'm sure we'll cover it at some point here on the channel. But give us a call if you have an interest in any of these. We'll be happy to talk with you further about them, see what we've got in stock and what we can put on your wrist.